Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking. I'm your host for this podcast. This is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business Family. We appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to us or watching us. If you're on YouTube, we sure appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment. If you happen to just be listening going down the road on an audio version, be sure and leave me and Miles a big 5-star review, as long as you think we are 5 stars. Today on the episode, we are going to talk to Don Reeves, and he is a representative of PrePass, and we're gonna find out a little bit more detail about PrePass. I think everybody knows what PrePass is, but we may have some listeners that have no idea what PrePass even means. So we're going to try to tell you what that is and break down a little PrePass of what the benefits are using it, how it works for truck driver and Oakley Trucking. We think just a few details will help us, and Mr. Don's going to explain that to us here in just a minute. But first, let's do an Oakley update sponsored by Lube Zone. You know, you've been hearing me talk about Lube Zone for a couple of years now. Well, now it's time you hear from one of our owner-operators. Listen to Mike Durbin talk about his experience with Lube Zone.
The price is great. The service is great. From the time when I pulled in the door to the time I pulled out was less than an hour. Best I've ever had as far as an owner-operator, had my oil changed. Checked the oil. They showed me the oil. They did all the portion on the wrenches. Showed me my rear end oil on the paper, and they did their job. You know, it was very nice to go somewhere, get what you wanted done, and go. I was very pleased with it. And like I said, very satisfied. I will go out of my way from now on to go there.
Check out lubezone.com for all their services and all their locations, and tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. So on Oakley Update today, you know, it's kind of first of the year. The holidays are over. It's time. Everybody's back to work. It's full time. Vacations are done. Well, maybe, but it's back at it, and let's get things going. And, as far as Oakley, the things we're looking at right now is the freight is cranking back up. I think all our customers, seem to take a little time off, along with us and along with the drivers, take a little time off during the holidays, and well-deserved time off. But it's kind of now, feet hitting the ground, and it's time to roll with it and run with it, because it's time to get back in the groove. And freight seems to be, really good right now from what I'm getting from our operation managers. So we're getting, freight seems to be starting back up, and also coming with the new year. I mean, it's new goals. What's in front of you? I know everybody wonders what's going to happen at Oakley this year. If you're working for Oakley, am I at a good place? Is they going to have a good year? I mean, all indicators are it's going to be good. And plus, I mean, I like to think like that, to have a positive outlook on the year and what we're doing. So it's just prepare yourself for it, having a good year, and we will have a good year. One other thing, keep in mind, I know it's early, but we've got the Mid-America Truck Show coming up at the end of March. And if you're interested in going, you need to start making plans to be there, especially if you're going to need a book a room or anything. We're going to have a couple guys in the Pride and Polish this year, which is going to be great. We're going to have the one from last year, John McCormick, and then we're going to add who's the other one? Jason Dobler. He's coming in and going to do it too. So we always like having a big showing at Matt's. So everybody be sure and check it out. It's in Louisville, Kentucky, Mid-America Truck Show at the end of March. And we'll definitely be there. And I bet you who else will be there will be PrePass. I don't know if Don Reeves will be there, but he might. What's going on, Don? You doing all right?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity. And yes, we will be there at the show.
Oh, good. Give our listeners a little bit, before we get into the details with PrePass, who you are.
Well, I was the Director of Client Retention. So basically what I do is I basically see our top clients, which you are one of them, and make sure that they're happy and everything's working properly along with PrePass. my background is got 37 years in transportation. As far as operations, vice president of operations for Swift Transportation for 20 odd some years. Navajo, I was vice president of Navajo, and also Central Freight Lines. So I come from the truckload, the LTL, the reefer, the dry van, the flatbed, and the doubles and triples and everything else that can cause you crazy nights.
That's very impressive, though.
Yeah.
That's a very impressive background. You've been doing it a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my father got me involved in this back when he was with PIE out of Chicago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's being in the trucking business can take a toll on somebody after 37 years, but you look like you're handling it well.
Well, I'm 40, so yeah. It's been rough,
Well, tell me about PrePass.
Right.
I mean, first of all, we use it here at Oakley, of course, and we've been with you guys for a long time. And it is, I can remember years ago, it was not that vital of a tool in the very beginning because, we didn't know much about it. But, man, have you guys made great leaps and bounds with this technology and what PrePass does, for the truck driver and the company.
Right.
These days. It's changed a lot over the years, hasn't it?
Well, you have to. We've got competition, and I think that really breeds innovation and success. We've got, house at your tail down in this arena. So we're a better company than we were just 10 years ago, no doubt about it. We've managed to use all the data that we get from the government and the state associations to gather this information and make it, worthwhile for our carriers, and they can see where their safety or their tolling money's going.
So for the person that's out there listening that has no idea what we're talking about, dumb it down for them. It's, for me, I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's the term, I have to have, for somebody not knowing about PrePass, how does it help a truck driver?
Well, as far as PrePass, there's several ways. The main introduction to PrePass was through our bypassing, the bypass scales. But we've got, and that's going to save you, really probably about $8.66 per bypass. And this is tested, been done through different universities. So you've got a savings right there on bypassing per dollar, and that savings is your time, your fuel, a lot of other things that are involved with that. But not only do you have your bypassing, PrePass also offers the tolling aspect too. So with one transponder, you get really two worlds. You get the tolling, not having to stop and pay for tolls, which driver saves you time on that, and then also not having to stop at scale houses when you're running a safe company.
Yeah, and just to explain a little bit further to our audience, so people may be driving down the road, they see these trucks lined up on the side of the interstate, and it sometimes can be backing up, and they got to get off at this little, it's called a scale house. Well, and as a regular, four-wheeler driver, I see these things over the interstate that give you a green or a red, that kind of hang out over the interstate. So that is what's called a scale house, and all truck drivers have to pull in that scale house unless they have a PrePass device in their windshield, and it communicates with that overhanging, I don't know what you call it, but it's over the interstate, and it'll what is it?
Reader.
A reader.
The reader. What they'll do is they're going to see, we have signs that we put out. Yeah, we put out about $900 million in infrastructure. The readers, poles that you're talking about, the weight and motion scales on the right-hand lane, and also all the software in all the scale houses in the United States. So when a driver is going down the road, usually about a mile prior to the weighing station, you'll see a sign. We put that sign up. You'll say PrePass weighing station, and he'll ask you to get in the right lane, and then you'll head on up, and then a reader, just after that sign, a reader will identify your truck through our RFI reader, the transponder, and that reader will go to the scale house, and it'll identify your truck, your carrier, and it'll tell us what your safety score is. And drivers that have a good safety score, like your company, you're going to be able to get a green light. And when you get that green light,
Lease on with Oakley Trucking, America's dry bulk hauler. Our owner-operators are the top paid in the country, and we will prove it to you. We offer steady year-round freight as well as a yearly annual bonus that increases each year you are leased to us. Oakley has multiple divisions, end dumps, hopper bottoms, and pneumatics, so we are sure to have something that works for your schedule and home time. Check us out on YouTube as well as our weekly podcast, or give us a call today and see why Oakley Trucking is everything you have been looking for.
You're going to be able to go on. That green light will stay lit for 15 minutes, just in case for some reason the scale house is very rare, but once in a while it might not show to them that you've got a green light. And if you're pulled over up the road, you're going to be able to show them that green light. And if you get a red light, well, then you're going to be pulled in. But what's nice about that is that you're driving down that right-hand lane, it identifies you to the reader, and then you go through weighing motion scales. And that scale on the ground is going to weigh out all axle weights and your gross. So you could be a safe carrier, and you're getting a green light, but then you might be overweight on your steer, your fives, your gross, and they're going to pull you in for that. And that's where you're going to get red for that. Other than that, if you're a safe carrier,
it weighs you on the interstate. Weigh in motion. That is pretty cool that they can do that.
Highway speeds. It's called weigh in motion, WIM with a WIM, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And that way, the old days, you'd have to pull in and get weighed, and you know how that is. And then they fight everything else wrong with you. But if you got a good weight on your tractor and trailer and you're legal, and you're a safe carrier, you're not going to be stopped at a scale. Now, with PrePass at the government, there's a 5% pull in they're going to do, and that's just for random. They don't want any companies like PrePass or any other companies that have waste station bypassing. You know, just to have carte blanche. They're going to check.
Just getting
and
random.
So they'll have a 5% pull in. So even though you're a safe carrier, you can get pulled in from time to time.
What? I didn't actually know that they could weigh you. They weighed your truck going down the interstate and got a weight on you before they decided to pull you in or not. I guess I didn't pay attention to that and know that exactly that they did that. I thought it just was going off of your safety credentials and safe score, whether to pull you in or not on that. So
right.
PrePass is such a great tool to have because when you're able to get that green light, which we do most of the time, I mean, if people got red light all the time, I mean, we were spoiled. That would be a nightmare having to pull in every weigh station. I could just imagine companies that don't pass and have to pull in. Right. The drivers are going to get tired of that real quick.
Yeah, recruiting for your drivers, yes, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna save the money, and it's a no-brainer deal. It's just a must-have.
Yeah. So it also does tolls. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. So not only in the bypassing, our transponder, we have an Elite Pass transponder, we call it, and that transponder has both your RFI technology for your bypassing and the same technology for your tolling. And right now, today, you can't get a mobile app for tolling. You can get a mobile app for bypassing, which we have too. We have a mobile app, and we give it to our customers for free. We just don't think that the mobile app is really worth that right now. And the tolling agency agrees with that. If they can get off of transponders, they get off transponders, but it's not as accurate. So they can make sure they get every dime they get, and they should get it. So our device is set up for the tolling throughout the United States and all the bridges. So if you get our Elite Pass and you buy tolling with it, we put it right in there for you. Or if you just want bypass, or just some trucking companies really don't run the freeways, and they run a lot of the tolling agencies. We just in tolls only for just tolls.
Oh, so you can do either one.
Yeah. Now, what's nice about that is with PrePass, we have all of our people behind PrePass in the tolling department. We do all your violations. So if you get a violation, send it to us, and we have an app called Informed Tolling that you can just download it, send it right to us, and we'll take care of that violation for you. Any toll disputes that you feel that you shouldn't pay, you send a note to us. We'll get involved with it, and we'll take care of it, and we'll get back to you on what we helped you with. Whatever we do with PrePass as far as your toll violations, we do not take any money from the violation. So some companies will charge 10 or 20% if they do a violation. We give it all back. What we give it right back to you, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so I didn't know y'all did that either. So you offer that service if there's a dispute and something with the toll. Okay, good. So you can get
that's correct.
A device to do it all, which is what we have. Takes care of all the tolls and all Now, when I started with you guys years ago, you weren't everywhere, all over the country. Where, I guess, is it easier to say where you're not yet? I mean, because you're about everywhere now, aren't you?
We are everywhere. We're not in Georgia, nor is anyone else. Georgia decided they want to start their own program. They haven't started yet. Now North Carolina did that about probably 6-7 years ago, and then decided that they didn't know how to do it, so they brought us back into it again. We feel Georgia's probably going to do the same thing. Other than that, we're everywhere. And Georgia's the only one I can really think of.
Come on, Georgia, get with the program.
Right.
What are they waiting on? Feel like they do it themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that happens sometimes.
Now, also I want to mention that we do have that mobile app. We give it to our customers for free. What's good about that mobile app is not only is it going to allow you to bypass areas where they don't have transponder capabilities. There are some states out there that really they don't want to put in all the infrastructure that we would like to do, so they'll let us just geofence, which is no problem at all. So we'll geofence. Now, with PrePass, the PrePass app and the PrePass transponder, we suggest you use both because our app has a lot of safety issues, safety alerts for you. Okay, so we're going to have like work zones, we have truck parking, congested areas, dangerous slowdowns, brake check areas. We have a bunch of other stuff involved in that pop up on your app. And if you want something if you want to take one of those out, like you're in an area that you run back and forth and you know that there's a front of a truck wrap there, you can just select it. You don't want to see that anymore. So it's kind of nice to have that. And so the app works really well with that. I think you go through bypassing. It's not in congested heavy lanes. That's where the app has difficulty. You can't decide my truck or your truck when there's 20 trucks around going through by the scale house. So it's gonna be tough. They'll usually pull you in. In low to medium traffic areas, we're fine. So we're just hoping that app connectivity will get a lot better, which it will in the years. But it's not there yet.
Okay, so let me ask you a question there on that app. So I either need to do the app or the device, not both of them. I just need to do one or the other. You can do both.
You can do both. Oh yeah, you can do. We recommend both. Oh yeah, we recommend the transponder in the truck and your app on your device on your whatever platform you have, and that way you can get the safety alerts. What's nice about the app, it's gonna notify you a mile sooner on your telematics device that there is a scale house coming up. To where if you didn't have the app, you'd have to rely on the sign. And a lot of these younger drivers out there today, I've heard of a lot, and that they just don't pay attention on that side, and they get in that lane. By the time they get over to the right lane, it's too late, and then they're probably going to get a citation for avoiding
Okay, so the app works out farther out than.
Yeah, that's going to take a little bit more on that. It's going to tell you, it's going to give you those possible hazards that are down the road. But
so you do have there's some places out there that they don't have the big arm and transponder hanging over the interstate. They just rely on the app.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, very few.
Is there many of those?
There's probably, I would say, about 40 of them.
Okay.
And we have that if you want to go into our PrePass.com. We have that listed on all of our what's mobile and what's not.
Which is really good because that's where I kind of was learning about that today before we got on together here. I was pulled up PrePass website. Y'all got a great website, by the way. I don't know who does it, but it's very informative. Got a lot of good stuff in there that helps explain a lot what you do with PrePass. So. Where you all have, I was reading about the app, trying to figure that out because I figure that's the next big thing, is you got to have an app. There's an app for everything, Don.
It is. Someday it's going to be all app. There is. But, we're not there yet.
It's one big app for all the little apps.
Yeah, well, that's probably right. But it's going to be there someday. We want to be there. We developed that app 15 years ago, and we really didn't put it out to market because we felt, why put something out that's not as good as what we've got? That's that transponder at 99.9%. The app usually is about, and this is every app, I don't care who has got it, they're usually about, I've seen where they're about 77% accurate. So, those numbers are going to go up as the years go by, but right now it's definitely transponders. And when we see the toll agency move over to apps, that means that D's there.
Yeah. So real quick on all this information that that you get, that you capture, PrePass's capture. I think it's one of the things that a lot of people worry about is, man, they capture so much information electronically. What do you do with all of it? I mean, is there anything that you do with this information that you get, or is it just solely just to see if you get a green light or a red light?
Yeah, really, we don't do anything with that information. We purge that information after 90 days. It's gone. And so we don't really work with that. The information that we use is the information that the FMCSA already has on the carriers. And that way, and we've taken that information and we put it into some software called Inform Safety and Inform Tolls. So when you get a citation for a bad tire, trailer, or whatever, that automatically goes down into the the FMCSA files. We have that information at no cost that we give to the customers. So at any time you can pull up and see what your ISS score is. What are your 7 basics look like? How am I doing on crashes or driver fatigue or whatnot? And we list it all out in beautiful graphics, and we'll show you a timeline. We can even show you when your points are dropping off for the next 3 months, which is important to tell you. And you can go back and see every violation. So if I've got a situation where I'm getting a bunch of trucks stopped up in a certain scale, see in Kentucky, I can go in and see, well, what are these issues I'm having in Kentucky out of the last 20 stops I've got in here? And I can see that maybe in fact, it's a true story. I had a carrier that had tires and brakes on trailers. So we looked at all that. We said, well, where are these coming from? And we found out that they were coming from one of their big DCs out in Georgia. And we got a hold of the terminal manager out there and found out that he took the service truck out of the trailer pool, to get those trailers worked on. And as soon as we put that shop truck back in that trailer pool, that was taken care of. And they weren't getting no citations anymore.
Aero Truck Sales has been in business for over 60 years and a longtime partner of Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast. Trey Visor and Keith Wilson do a great job at putting you in the right truck to fit your needs and our needs here at Oakley. They carry all makes and models to choose from with on-site financing through transport funding. So whether you are a seasoned owner-operator or a first-time buyer, be sure to contact Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales at 573-216-6047 and tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. I think you pretty much have established all the benefits of PrePass, haven't you? I mean, is there what's new coming down the road?
Let's see here. One other thing I'm going to be into is that we integrate with other bypass companies like Oregon Green Light. So when you get on with PrePass, we'll automatically set you up with Oregon Green Light. Also NordPass. That's your Canadian and your Washington, Oregon, and also Connecticut and Montana. So we're a third party with that, and all we do is just send your truck information to it. They set you up with it, and
okay, cool.
That's also helps out too. As far as what we just started with, and this really helps out the larger companies. I know it's not really for your single owner operators, but we started up with API. So we'll go ahead and set up a flat file so we can send over total information that'll link up to what driver actually had that total expense and then what customer it was on. So you can build back your customers a lot easier. We run that every day for you. So that really helps out as far as your accounting department.
How many people do you think has a PrePass device out there in the world today?
Okay, well, I'll tell you, as of today, we have 786,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. They started this back in the early 80s and was set up with Washington, Oregon, and California. And they wanted to just, get some relief from going to these fail houses when they knew they were safe carriers. So a couple of carriers got together and with HELP, which was once PrePass, it was their old name, HELP Incorporated, which is now the PrePass Safety Alliance, got together and started funding these projects, and recently found out that they could actually find a device, a transponder, that could read, take the data and move it to the scales and the information from the government over to it and identify the truck. They felt that was something that we could do and that's the public, which in 1993 we went ahead and did that and formed PrePass. It was been around for a while, and it's a proven technology. We just enhanced it by taking all the information that we get from the government, our truckers, and able to open it up so you can pull all these great reports to see exactly where you're at as far as safety and your toll spend throughout the United States.
So I'm assuming the DOT officers, I'm assuming they like you because you're doing part of their job as the truck's going down the highway. Is that what you see on your end?
Absolutely, they love us. In fact, we on our board of directors, we have DOT agents that have been retired that we bring in to counsel how we can help the states and the local governments out. And when I personally go into scale houses when I'm out traveling, and just to make sure everything's okay, I'll go with our reps. And they love us there. They come on in, they show what's going on, and it's making their day a lot easier from when they're piled up back there in the old days. So no doubt about it, it's a lot easier for them.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was. I mean, you would think maybe sometimes it would take away from people they want to inspect, but I guess not. You've got a foolproof plan that you're only going to go by the scales if you deserve to go by the scales.
Yeah, that's right. They get those random once in a while, but you're safe here and don't worry about it.
So what's the best way for somebody to sign up for PrePass?
All right, so what they can do is they go online or they can call us out. What I can do is I'm just talking to your folks over there in the recruiting, I guess they want to call it recruiting department. We can set up an automatic enrollment application that we can have for online for you guys. So I'm going to get back with those folks to see how we can do that. So you'll already have your DOT number in there because you've allowed that for the owner operators, and they just have to sign it up and send it in to us. And then we'll just send that out on device.
Well, we've got a system here where our guys, I mean, we have just about all of our owner operators signed up with you. We do that for them in-house where we, we have the transponders here. So everybody gets to choose whether they want a PrePass or not, and then we just settlement deduct it from them.
Perfect.
And we get a bill at once a month with all the tolls, and then we have to actually manually go through that and charge back to the owner operator on whatever certain tolls we don't pay for. But people that are not with Oakley, I guess the best way for them to sign up is just go to the website.
Go to the website and either fill out the application on the website or just give us a call at the 800 number, and we'd be glad to help them out.
PrePass.com, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good stuff, Don. I appreciate it, man. That's good information.
Yeah, no problem.
It's always nice to learn a little bit more about advancing technology when it comes to PrePass and it's come to helping truck drivers. I feel like you're some common ground between the trucking company, truck driver, and the DOT, the compliance people. You kind of you're helping both of us.
You're the happy medium. Yeah. Both out.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated too. I really do appreciate it. Well, man, thanks for hanging out with me and doing this podcast. Sorry about some of the technical difficulties that we've had, but it's part of it that we're doing these days. We'll see how it turns out, and we'll stay in touch. Maybe we'll see you if you go to Matt's. Be sure and look us up.
You get off. I'll see you at Matt's, and then I get around your area, I'll stop in and visit with you. Okay.
And, hey, we also are doing just so you know, we'll probably send something to you, but we'll have the podcast there at Matt's.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be sending out some 15, 20-minute spots where you can sign up if you want to, sit down with me. We'll do a recording there at Matt's if you want to, and face-to-face. But if not, definitely come by and see us. Okay, man?
Be happy to. You got it.
All right.
You got to be safe.
Yes, sir. You too. Hey, thanks again for everybody listening to the Oakley Podcast. We appreciate you and what you do. I hope this was informative to learn a little bit more about PrePass and how it is here to help the truck driver. And it sure does help Oakley owner-operators, I promise you. It's nice to be able to buzz past those scales. So if you ever got any questions concerning Oakley or the Oakley Podcast, Oakley Trucking, give me a call. Let me know what's on your mind. Shoot me an email at our website, oakleytrucking.com. We've got one, podcast.bruceoakley.com, and let us know what's going on out there in the trucking world. Thanks for listening, and we appreciate everybody. We'll talk to you again next week.